Now is a great time to be an EV commuter at UC San Diego. We have such an incredibly robust charging environment on campus. And we're actually expecting in the next year to add 50% again to those level 2 ports that we've got on campus, and those DC fast chargers, we're going to increase 6-fold. We've gotten really wonderful grant support in the last year, and strategic energy initiatives and transportation services, both within resource management and planning, have really teamed up to make some leading investments in EV infrastructure that will pay off over time as people use them. But it makes sure that we are ready for commuters like yourself that are making the change over to EV. We've got a new type of parking on campus, technically sort of level 2. They're on the PowerFlex platform. And what they do is balance the load, the sort of distribution of electrons among everybody who's plugged in at a particular site. So it lets us provide more ports with the same size panel in the facility. That's part of how we're accelerating our rollout of EV infrastructure. But also because you can sort of do crock-pot cooking there over the course of the day, we don't have to ask you to move your vehicle at the 4-hour mark. And I know that that's been a big barrier to entry for staff at the university. I have trouble breaking away in the middle of the day to move a vehicle or eat lunch for that matter sometimes. And that being the case, we've heard our customers. Technology has caught up to where we want to be, and adaptive load management is our new standard for the campus. You need to pay for parking, and I want to be really clear on that, because most of the campus, starting in COVID and as part of how we're parking on campus in the future, has moved to daily parking as opposed to the old plastic permits that we hang in. And in fact, plastic permits are dead at UC San Diego. The group that's going through renewal right now are turning in the last of the plastic permits or throwing them in their recycling bins, and we're going to all virtual at this point. So either you'll have your virtual monthly permit if you want to stay on payroll deduction, or most folks are going to find that they can save by paying just by the day or the hour even for parking. We're providing B for staff, A for faculty and senior staff, daily parking at the same rates that we've been providing that, and we're going to be delivering it through the app. And so it'll just be a case of pull in, click to let us know that you're there and want to park for the day. You'll be charged for the parking, and then you initiate your charging session with your charge point or PowerFlex or whatever the type of ESV you've pulled up to is. It varies a little bit company to company. Some folks are still using the fobs or cards, and that's great. But I will say a smartphone is your best friend. It's a great way to know everything that's going on campus, to do your symptom screening, to interface with the parking system. We actually now in the campus app have either real-time or modeled parking availability for every facility on campus. It's your bus pass if you're going to be riding the bus and mixing up your commute some of those days. So smartphone is your best friend. And you can get the very best out of our charging partners by using their specific apps. Our rates vary a little bit, and they'll probably change a little bit more toward the beginning of fall quarter, but they hover right around 15 cents a kilowatt hour. What we try to make sure is that the cost to charge on campus is as good or better than you'd be paying at home. And that's just for the straight cost of the electricity, not factoring in the fact that you would have to pay to install infrastructure at your home if you were going to do home-based charging. The other benefit to charging on campus is, unlike your home charging, when you charge on campus, it's 100% renewables that are fueling your ride. And so every electron that goes into your battery is going to be a green electron when you're charging on campus. We've got charging infrastructure really in all our major garages. Gilman, we just upgraded to have the PowerFlex sort of all-day parking in it. We've done that at the Scholars parking structure. We have, I believe it's PowerFlexes that are going in a major expansion over in Hopkins parking structure. I think we're still with charge points and a couple of research type chargers over at Osler, but we do have something interesting going there as well, where we have split circuit charge points over there. So instead of charging at the sort of 13 amp or so range, we share a circuit on some of those where you can leave your vehicle all day and it's charging at the 6.5 or so amps. And it's going to be a slower charge. It's sort of level 1 plus, a little bit better than plugging into a 110 outlet. But you don't have to deal with moving your vehicle. And again, it's the green electrons and the great campus charging rates. I want to share two factors to think about. One is the incentives that are available to you as a member of the UC San Diego community in terms of purchasing an EV. And then secondly, the incentives that are available for charging on campus. So let's start with charging on campus. I mentioned already that when you charge on campus, 100% of the energy that is going into your vehicle is green energy. You don't have that necessarily at home, and certainly not without paying a premium at home in order to be able to have that assurance that your energy is coming from a renewable source. In addition, when you charge on campus, there's a return to the university for that. Comes in the form of the low carbon fuel standard credits. And we use those to provide a more competitive price for your charging. That's part of the reason charging on campus is such a great deal. But also the residual from those that doesn't get passed on in the form of a discount helps build out the charging network on campus. So this is part of a virtuous cycle. When you charge on campus, you make funds available to invest in more charging infrastructure on the campus, and more of your colleagues then can buy EVs and do the same, and we've made a more sustainable transportation system. So that's the reason to charge on campus. Mm-hmm. I'll add that in addition to our making sure that every electron is green, there is a glut of green energy available of renewables, both wind and solar, in the morning and early afternoon period when people happen to be at work. So anytime we can add load to the grid during that period and take load off of the grid in the evening period when the electricity in the grid is dirtier, is good for the health of the grid overall in California and for reducing our collective carbon footprint.